The most attractive thing you can do has nothing to do with how you look. It's not your jawline, it's not your height, it's not the car you drive or the watch on your wrist or how many times you've been to the gym this month. The thing that makes a woman feel instantly, almost involuntarily drawn to a man, the thing that bypasses every rational filter she has and lands directly in her nervous system as him, is something almost no one is talking about. And here's what makes it both frustrating and freeing at the same time. You already have it. You've just been leaving it buried under everything you thought you were supposed to be doing instead. This video uncovers it, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. You've been performing attraction instead of embodying it. Let me describe something you've probably lived through more than once. You see someone you're genuinely drawn to, and something shifts inside you, not toward presence, but toward performance. You become slightly more deliberate, slightly more aware of how you're coming across. You start curating, choosing words more carefully, holding yourself differently, projecting a version of yourself that you hope is the version she'll respond to. And somehow, despite all that effort, despite the fact that you're actively trying harder than you would with someone you didn't care about, it lands with less impact than moments when you weren't trying at all. You know this feeling. The conversation with a stranger where you were completely relaxed and she was leaning in, laughing, finding reasons to stay. And then the conversation with someone you actually wanted to impress, where the exact same version of you somehow became stiff and careful and less everything than you normally are. Here's what that experience is telling you. Effort in the wrong direction actively kills the thing you're trying to create. Because attraction, real, instant, gut-level attraction, is not created by performance. It's created by presence, by a quality of being that communicates something without trying to communicate anything at all. And today, we break down exactly what that quality is, how to develop it, and why it works on a level that goes deeper than anything you've been trying before. Instant attraction is a nervous system event, not a decision. Start here because this foundation changes everything. When a woman feels instantly attracted to someone, she did not decide to feel that. She didn't run a conscious assessment, weigh the options, and arrive at attraction as a conclusion. It happened to her, in her body, before her rational mind had a chance to weigh in. That's what instant attraction actually is, a nervous system response. Her body registered something about his presence and responded to it before she could think about whether it was appropriate or logical or what her type supposedly is. Which means the question is not, what can I say or do to make her attracted to me? The real question is, what quality of presence triggers that nervous system response? And how do I embody it naturally rather than perform it awkwardly? Answer that question correctly, and attraction stops being something you have to manufacture. It becomes something you stop blocking. 2. The single quality that creates instant attraction. Let's name it directly. The quality that creates instant, involuntary, almost irresistible attraction in women is settled masculine presence. Not dominance, not aggression, not the loud, performative confidence of someone who needs the room to know they're confident. Settled, as in a man who is completely at home in himself, who doesn't need external validation to feel certain of his own value, who occupies his space without apology and without excess, who is fully present in the moment he's in without being distracted by how that moment looks from the outside. That quality, settled, grounded, genuinely present masculine energy, triggers something ancient in the female nervous system. Something that says, this person is safe. This person is real. This person is actually here. And in a world full of men who are performing, managing, curating, and straining, a man who is simply and completely himself stands out with an immediacy that is almost jarring. 3. Why most men are doing the opposite without realizing it. Here's the painful irony that most men live inside and never fully identify. The behaviors that men adopt when they want to be attractive, the behaviors they believe will help, are almost universally the behaviors that destroy the very quality they're trying to project. Trying harder makes you look like you're trying. Managing your impression makes your presence feel managed. Projecting confidence makes the projection visible. Performing interest makes the performance detectable. She can feel all of it. Her nervous system is exquisitely sensitive to authenticity versus artifice. It evolved to be. And what she registers in a man who is performing is not the quality he's performing. She registers the performance itself. And performance is the opposite of settled. Performance is a man who is not at home in himself, desperately hoping she won't notice. The path forward is not to perform better. It's to stop performing entirely. And that requires understanding why you started performing in the first place, which almost always comes back to the belief that who you actually are isn't enough. 4. The belief underneath the performance. This is where we have to go into something real for a moment. Every man who performs in the presence of a woman he's attracted to is running, at some level, on a belief that goes something like this. If she sees the real me, unfiltered, unoptimized, without all the effort, she won't be interested. And that belief, however quietly it operates, produces exactly the outcome it's afraid of. Because the effort to hide the real you in favor of a more impressive version is exactly what makes you less attractive. Not because the real you is deficient, but because the act of hiding it makes you invisible in the most important way. She doesn't fall for the performed version. She doesn't have enough access to the performed version to feel anything real about it. She falls for glimpses of the actual person, the moments when the performance slips and something genuine shows through. And those moments, the accidental ones, the unguarded ones, are consistently the moments women later describe as the ones where they really started to feel something. Stop protecting her from the real you. It's the only version she can actually connect with. 5. What settled presence actually looks like in practice. Let's get specific because be yourself is not useful advice without practical texture. Settled presence looks like a man who makes eye contact, not to be intense, but because he's genuinely engaged with the person in front of him. His eye contact is interested, not performing interest. It looks like pauses in conversation that he doesn't rush to fill. He's comfortable in silence because he's comfortable in himself. He doesn't experience quiet as a failure to be managed. It looks like opinions expressed without defensiveness. When he says what he says it because it's true for him, not to impress, not to agree, not to be safe. And when she disagrees, he doesn't collapse or overcorrect. He considers her perspective and stays himself. It looks like a body that isn't trying to be somewhere else. Shoulders down, not performing relaxation, but actually relaxed. Present in the physical space he's in without either shrinking into it or dominating it unnecessarily. And it looks like genuine laughter, not the managed chuckle of someone monitoring their own amusement for appropriateness. Real laughter, when something is actually funny that doesn't ask for permission. These are not techniques. They are the natural expressions of a man who is genuinely at home in himself, and they are visible, magnetic, and almost impossible to resist from across a room. 6. How to develop this quality, starting today. Here's the practical truth about becoming more grounded and present. It doesn't start with women. It starts with you, with the relationship you have with your own life when nobody is watching and nothing is at stake. A man who is settled in the presence of attractive women is settled because he's settled everywhere, because he's built a life he actually respects, because he has interests he pursues for their own sake, not for how they make him look, because he has people in his life who know him fully and choose him anyway, because he has faced difficult things and discovered he was capable of handling them. That settledness, built in private, lived in daily moments, is what shows up as magnetic presence in social situations. You can't manufacture it in the moment. You can only cultivate it in the accumulation of moments when the stakes are low and your only witness is yourself. The most attractive version of you is not the version you construct when she walks into the room. It's the version you become by living your life fully and honestly when she's nowhere near. 7. The specific moment when attraction becomes irresistible. There is a moment in almost every genuine connection where something crystallizes, where she goes from aware of you to pulled toward you in a way that feels involuntary. That moment almost never happens in a peak social performance. It happens in a quiet, unguarded, completely genuine moment, often small, often barely noticed by either person. He says something completely honest that he almost didn't say. He laughs at something in a way that's completely real. He looks at her, for a moment not strategically, with genuine warmth and not a trace of agenda. He admits something small and true that he didn't need to admit. These micro moments of authentic self-expression are where irresistible attraction lives, not in the impressive story or the smooth line. In the second where the real person shows through and she catches a glimpse of something she wasn't expecting to find. Be the person who creates those moments naturally, by being real rather than being impressive, and you become the person she can't stop thinking about after the night ends. 8. Why this works when everything else doesn't. Let's close the psychological loop. Every technique, every strategy, every system for creating attraction that focuses on what to say or do is working on the surface, and surfaces can be detected. Managed behavior has a texture she recognizes, even when she can't name it. And recognized management produces comfort at best, never genuine magnetism. But genuine presence, settled, real, unperforming masculine energy, works at a level beneath technique. It goes straight to the nervous system, where decisions about safety and desire and trust are made before the conscious mind has a chance to weigh in. You cannot fake your way to that level, but you can grow your way there by becoming more of who you actually are, by releasing the performance, by trusting that the real you, not the optimized, curated, carefully managed version, is the version she's actually going to fall for. Because she always was going to fall for that version. She just needed you to finally show her it existed. It was always just you, all of you, finally showing up. The instant attraction trick for men is not a technique. It's a homecoming. It's the moment you stop performing confidence and start living from it. The moment you stop curating your impression and start expressing your reality. The moment you trust, genuinely trust, that being completely and specifically yourself is not a liability in the presence of a woman you're drawn to. It is the only thing that creates what you've been looking for. Not the version of you that impresses, the version of you that is real. She can feel the difference in the first 30 seconds. And when she feels the real version, grounded, present, settled, unafraid, something in her recognizes something old and instinctive and certain, and she can't resist it, not because of a trick, because of you. If something in this video landed differently than what you expected, if it touched something real about how you've been showing up, subscribe. Every single week on this channel, we go into the real psychology of attraction, connection, and what it takes to be the kind of man who creates something genuine with someone worth creating it with. No tricks, no performance, just truth. You're in the right place.